Hey guys, we're here with Tristan, your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh judge, who went undefeated with Dark World post DUNE. How are you liking the deck for the new format with the new cards?
It's good. It's got some new utility cards, some more consistency cards, some more draw cards, but at the same time it also deteriorates a lot of players and they're like, oh my gosh, they got more support and just annoys them even more.
Okay, well, let's just get right to the list.
Alright, so not too many changes. So still triple Genta, triple Snow, triple Rainbow, double Grapha, double Silva, and one Ceruli. Like the ratios I still feel is perfectly fine. Some people like only one Silva and one Grapha. I find like a number of the times is like you just want that second one in case you're forced to banish off of something like a lure or pitch a card for another card effect. You want the second one as a backup, just to have as the extra extender. And then for the danger lineup, one Jackalope, one Snake, one Chupacabra, two Mothman, two Nessie, and one Bigfoot. This lineup, I actually cut down on the dangers just because I found myself at times I was just literally opening hands with just all dangers, or I was just drawing into dangers and didn't see a single Dark World. And the dangers on their own don't necessarily do a whole lot apart from putting another body on the board, drawing another card, and then it's like you're just struggling to get a Dark World just so you can fire off the actual engine you want. And then moving on, playing the one Salamander. It's still a really good card, especially as a one-up to trigger off all the Dark World cards and get more effects off. And then for some new spice, one, the Cuckoo Commander, but it's literally like another upstart or Dark World dealing for yourself. And it's literally just another draw card for the deck. And then the one other spice I played, Magician's Soul and Illusion of Chaos. And it was literally because I was finding a number of times when I used like Gates of the Dark World or Archive, or even have other spells in hand, like literally I can just use souls to pitch them, draw more cards, and it helps sense up the deck even quicker. And then this way you're not just dumping gates off of gates and just trying to draw more cards, but you can actually do more draws off of this instead of just sending gates to the grave by itself. Also, there was a number of times where like if you open both of them, you can also go for Sayuja, put one of them back, so you can just pull them both right back out of the deck again. One upstart, one Dark World Accession, one Card Destruction, one Dark World Archives, triple Gates of the Dark World, three Allure of Darkness, one Talent, one Thrust, and everybody's favorite new card, Dark Corridor.
Okay, just two?
Just two. I really tried to get like 3 copies in the deck, but the problem was like the deck itself was so tight, especially because I'm going for the hand loop turbo draw, and trying to fit a third one in, especially with like every other card in the deck, it really proved too hard to try to pick what to cut, what to keep. And one of the things that hindered me was the fact that Dark Corridor is a hard once per turn, and so it's like if the opponent negates the effect of it, then you're kind of struggling because you really want this, especially if you draw the bricky hands where you need this to resolve in order to fix that hand so you can keep pushing the combo. And then that's one of the other reasons why I was also playing Illusion and Souls, because if you draw the second one, you can always pitch it off of Souls to generate more cards. You can even send like a session from your hand to the grave, because like let's say your hand is full of Dark Worlds and you have no way to trigger them. Souls can just force this into the grave, and then you can trigger this in grave to discard and bring back, and then get your board rolling. And then it gives you an extra body for linking off into Security, Akashic, or even Saryuja. So it's really nice. And then moving on to the extra deck. As for the Field Center, Token, and then one Dugaris, one Baguska, one Giant Trainer. I actually started playing this more and more because people were going more for combo heavy boards, and a lot of the times what I find myself doing was actually dropping 2 level 4s, and they let it go through because they think I'm gonna try to go for Dugaris to try to draw cards, and then they just pop it right there. But then I go and I drop Baguska in defense, and all their monsters on the field are negated, and especially against branded, I drop this against the guy and literally cracked his board because all his monsters were stuck in the fence and he couldn't trigger any of their effects. So nice. And then for the links, Akashic Magician, Security Dragon. A new link card I've been trying out is Armalile, because sometimes the deck still suffers from like Troll and Lockbird and Shifter, and so it was like trying to search for other cards that could theoretically work to help you set up a board and whatnot. And one of the things I found was actually like if all you were doing was getting dangers on the field and then you needed a way to get like another level 4 onto the board, you take 2 of the dangers, you link them off into this, make sure it's still able to point to the 1 level 4 you do have on the board, and then use this to bring up the 2nd level 4. So you can go for Baguska here, and hopefully they don't have a way to crack it, and this way you're able to play through for next turn, hopefully. And then 1 Appaloosa, 1 Sayuja, both of them one of really great cards for drawing and effect negation, and then still 2 Grapha Fusions. Cards definitely need as a 2-of, because especially if they out the first one, you can make the second one. And what's even funnier is the fact that people still don't read this card, and every time they get rid of this card, I end up triggering it to bring back Grapha and discard a card. So if I have Cerulea and Silva still in hand, I can actually trigger the Cerulea again to put on their side, and then go for Silva and rip 2 more cards, even if they out this card. Which ended up happening today, actually. And then last but not least, 1 Mudcracker, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Phoenix, 1 Unicorn, and 1 Isis Code. This is literally your lineup for basically cleaning up the board and ensuring that, especially if you're going second, you have the push for the OTK with all the monster cards you need. I did end up cutting Underworld Goddess, because as much as I loved her, is like the fact that you have to establish so many bodies on the board, and the fact that most players aren't going to let you keep those bodies on the board makes it really difficult to go for her in the end. And so unfortunately I did have to cut her. And then last but not least, the side deck. So still on triple Dinkoseka, because back rows suck and you want as much ways to deal with them as possible. Some new cards I put in, double Nib, because combo decks are even more of a thing now, especially because there's so many decks now with 1 2-card combos that end on absurd boards, so you need more ways to interrupt. 1 Dark Ruler no more, and this is literally because I'm also playing Talent and the deck is a hard draw engine deck. So more likely than not, you're going to just draw into it. Or even if you open with a Thrust, you can use Thrust to just search this out and then just negate their board and keep going. And then Twin, because I started realizing again that like Twin with the dangers is really good, because you can go Twin, dump like Nessie, Bigfoot, or Jackalope, pop 2 cards, and then those cards will get you another body or take away a card on the opponent's side, because even though this discards for cost, the dangers don't care because they trigger as soon as they're discarded, or in the next chain I should say. And then last but not least, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Regeki, 1 D-Barrier, 1 Devastation Virus, and 2 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. And again, the theory with Dimensional Barrier is the same as Dark Ruler, especially if you're going first. Literally, all these cards you can just search off with the Thrust if you get Drolled or Shifter, and you pray it's enough to stop the opponent from OTKing you on the next turn. And then one thing I also realized with Eradicator Epidemic Virus is the fact that when you read the card, it actually doesn't say it's a hard once per turn. And the fact that this deck can actually drop so many high-level, high-attack monsters like Bigfoot, like Grapha, and Rainbow is literally, you have so many bodies that can literally trigger these cards. And I actually had 1 game against Rescuays where I dropped Grapha and Rainbow and had double virus to pop both his spells and his traps, and it left him with like next to nothing. It was a really dark day for the guy. I felt sorry for doing it to him.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the deck profile. Any last shoutouts?
Shout outs to James for doing the deck profile, and thanks to Game Nation for helping me to finish building the deck.
Awesome. Thank you.